Now, this next one's drawn a lot of comment from you this morning. You're very worried about it. The BMA, the British Medical Association, says that patients should now be put on waiting lists based on their clinical need to see a GP instead of the usual first-come, first-served system.
Yeah, the BMA wants the most urgent cases directed to A&E, while the least urgent could wait a number of weeks to be seen by a doctor.
Now, is that sensible? Would it actually ease the pressure, or is it going to leave people at a greater risk? Well, GP and former chair of the BMA, Dr Chaand Nagpaul, joins us, along with senior clinical lecturer and former GP, Dr Bharat Pankhania. Thank you both for coming in. I know, Dr Chaand, that you're behind this idea, so let's cut straight to the chase here. On behalf of everybody watching, let's say I wake up in the morning and that lump that I've been ignoring for the last 6 or 7 weeks has got bigger and it's starting to hurt. Or I've got a fever, or I'm feeling dizzy, whatever, I need to see a doctor, I think. How does this new system work? What do I do?
Well, I think it's important to say we already have a significant waiting list or a queue to see a GP already, but everyone is in the same queue. Now, NHS England have just said that demand in general practice has gone to record levels exceeding capacity. We are now seeing 35 million, I'll repeat that, 35 million more patients in the year to July 2022 compared to 3 years ago.
All right, but tell me, OK, we understand the need to do something.
Yeah.
No one's
so at the moment,
that. But what do I want to know what happens.
Sure.
What do I do? Do I go online? Do I call the surgery? What do I do?
Sure. So at the moment, everyone is in the same queue. So a patient who may need a diabetic review, and that doesn't have to be done today, is in the same queue as the person like yourself
feeling dizzy.
Who needs to be seen the same day.
Yeah.
So what this would really do is be open, transparent, and formalise an arrangement so that those that are most urgent, that need to be seen the same day, are in a separate queue to those who may
And how does that process happen? Do I go online? Do I make a phone call? Explain to me how it works.
So what in fact, this is already happening in many GP practices. And what that would mean is that when patients are making their appointment, those that need to be seen will be fast-tracked so that they can be seen quickly, whilst others will be told that, in fact, you need to plan ahead if you need to.
And who decides that?
That will be at the point of making the appointment between the patient and the practice.
The receptionist?
There are a variety of ways. It could be through the receptionist. There are large numbers of patients, might be hard to believe, who actually want to consult online. They will often put forward their reason for wanting to see a GP. They may be in a different queue. So, in fact, I don't think that this is a revolutionary idea. What it actually is actually trying to provide safe care based on clinical need. At the moment, we're not doing that. And patients who don't need to be seen today are actually blocking the ability for other patients to be seen on the same day.
So that's what this is about. What would be the problem with that? It's a nightmare calling up at 8 o'clock and the receptionists are overwhelmed with everybody who thinks their problem needs to be seen right now. Why not separate the two groups? The people who are urgent and the people who can wait 2 weeks?
So, as my colleague and friend Chand has already said, this is already happening in some way in general practices. But what we are not doing is addressing the big elephant in the room. The big elephant in the room is general practice, primary care is an unhappy place. You need to make it a happier place. When I was a GP, I knew my patients knew me. Maybe we can't go back to that. However, there are GPs who are leaving. There are doctors...
Like you.
I left a long time ago.
Well,
had a longer
it
career.
Sounds to me like GP practice probably needs people like you back.
They have made it very difficult to return back.
How come?
So there are lots of hurdles, and some of them are valid, but there are enormous hurdles. But what I was going to say is stop GPs leaving, make it better. There are tax and pension issues to address. There are doctors out there who are not in practice who could be welcomed back. And then finally, there are lots of my medical students who are going to train as GPs, but are not taking up general practice after qualifying.
There are massive structural problems. There aren't enough GPs. It takes too long to train, and we're not getting people like you back into general practice. But a waiting list so that it is not just down to the receptionist to decide that the first come, first is first served. Why is that a problem?
So we're already doing that triaging. You need to be seen urgently. You've got your chest pain. You've suddenly got a face drop, etc. That is already happening. What I'm concerned about is this is another smokescreen to say we are doing something about it, whereas the thing to address is make general practice
He's saying we're
palatable.
attacking the wrong end of the problem. That's what he's saying.
No, what these proposals are, they're part of a BMA document about treating patients safely. So this is about safe care in a situation where there is a demand that exceeds supply. It's not the solution to the problem. The solution to the problem, ultimately, is increasing capacity in general practice.
Well, I think we can
That
all
is the
agree
issue.
on that.
Agree that,
we can.
absolutely.
Thanks both very
Thank you.
much
Thank
indeed. We asked on Twitter, would it be dangerous to introduce GP waiting lists? And almost 80% of you have serious concerns.
Wow. Only 22% said no. Let us know what you think as we go through the show.